Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of SarCAST here with your boy Mirko. Welcome back to another pre-recorded SarCAST. Again, I think this is going to be the format that we're sticking to nowadays. That we are caught up in MPL ID and all the other events like MDL as well. So hope you guys like the pre-recorded format. I have seen the comments down below in the comment section from all of you guys. I've been taking in some constructive criticism with the content, and most of you guys seem to like the pre-recorded format over the live stream format because I do stick to the points better, right? I don't get distracted as often as when I'm doing live streams because obviously I have to read live chat when I'm live streaming. But here we are, guys. Another SarCAST episode right after the end of week number 3. And oh my goodness, oh my lord. Week 3 for both MPL ID and MPL PH. It's so wild, right? Like, again, I'm very sorry to the fans who are telling me to watch the other regions. Like, I've seen comments saying that, hey, Mirko, you should watch MPL Cambodia, you should watch MPL Brazil, you should watch MPL Malaysia. Very sorry, because the little time that I do have, I spend on my content, I spend on watching PH, and I spend analyzing just my own cast right after the matches in MPL ID. So the free time that I have is very limited, and I use it to focus on other regions and focus on relaxing because I need to relax a lot here during the season because there's just so many crazy things happening. I need to be zen before I go for the crazy hype. And we're still in week 3. That's something that's crazy, right? Like the normal levels of hype is not normal. It's not normal to be this hype for 3 weeks into the season because usually this is just the beginning, right? But this season is truly different, right? But it's different for a different reason. We all expected that this season would be different because of all the Filipino imports maybe to MPL ID, right? The moves from every single region. Well, it did play a part for the hype towards MPL ID Season 10. But I think we're going to move on to the first topic, which correlates to the point just now, the hype. Why is MPL ID Season 10 so hype? Why is MPL Season 10 in general so hype in every single region, right? With Season 10. It's because the rookies are going crazy. The rookies! It's not the time for the imports. It's not just about the imports. It's about the rookies, ladies and gentlemen, right? It's so refreshing to see it. I'm glad to see it. I've been waiting to see this sort of crazy, rookie performance for quite some time, right? Again, we've seen rookies come up before. We've seen them go for insane. We've seen rookies come up from the MDL to the MPL and perform like crazy, but we haven't seen it like this before, right? So again. If you guys missed the entirety of week 3 and MPL ID EVOS Legends with their somewhat rookie roster, right? With Sutsujin stepping up, with Dreams coming back up to the MPL, also with Taz in the mid lane, another rookie in the MPL. They were able to beat RRQ with a roster that they had since Season 8. This roster that hasn't lost a match since Season 9, right? Skylar, Clay, R7, Albert, and Vin. These 5 members haven't taken a loss in such a long time. The last time in between Season 9 and Season 10, the only times RRQ have lost is at MSC, literally. Like before the match against EVOS, yeah? So the only match they lost in between Season 9 and 10 was in the grand finals against RSG Philippines. So that just shows how strong this lineup really is, right? And that just makes it so much more impressive for EVOS Legends with the new lineup that everyone was hating on. Not everyone, but a lot of people were hating on. Everyone was like, what are you doing? Why the heck would you remove, why would you demote Fairsick? Why would you promote Sutsujin? Why not brands, etc.? And we'll get into that point. Well, we will have like a proper segment for the new era of EVOS because I do have a few words for EVOS Legends. But also Rebellion, the second rookie team, kind of, right? Because they brought Highs, Narco, 2 rookies as well in their lineup. They were able to beat RRQ Hoshi 2-0. So both these rookies and both these blue teams were able to beat RRQ 2-0. I don't know. I guess RRQ are kind of cursed against blue teams, yeah? Like blue teams are their kryptonite because M1 Grand Finals, it was up against EVOS Legends. Then the MSC Grand Finals, it was against RG Philippines, blue team, Rebellion, blue team, and EVOS Legends again, blue team. So I don't know. Maybe that's just their counter. But on the other side, though, Philippines as well. We saw kind of the same thing here. Onyx PH, a team full of rookies, except for Ryota, right? 4 rookies and Ryota. They were able to beat Blacklist International, the world champions, the SEA Games champions, the ISF qualified team to represent the Philippines. Onyx PH, the team that I ranked number 8 in my power rankings, because I thought with them, disbanding or throwing away their old roster with all those legends like Delar, like Kyrie, Baloy, Marky, and Hatred, I thought I think it's going to be very hard for Onyx PH to find that level of success again. But they did it, man. I don't know. Oh, it's so impressive. And not only did they beat Blacklist, they proved it was not a fluke because they took down Omega the next day. I'm so impressed. And man, Onyx PH, this is what I like to see, man. I think I said it as well in the power rankings video when I put them at A place. I want these teams to prove me wrong. I want my prediction to be wrong because then it just shows that there's a fly. It just shows that it's unpredictable. The season is the season that we've all been waiting for, when everything is unpredictable, when the top, the number 1 team can lose in the regular season. Because for Blacklist especially, right? Blacklist and RRQ, actually, both of these teams with their main lineups, they haven't lost a match in such a long time. So it's very refreshing to see them finally losing, right? Because it's in a good way. Because for RRQ and for Blacklist, they can finally start to improve again, right? Maybe they stagnated because they just kept on winning. That's something that happens to teams who usually keep winning. They stagnate, they don't improve, they find themselves in comfortable positions, and they feel achieved and they don't want to go for more, right? They lose that hunger. But now with the losses coming in for both Blacklist and RRQ, I'm sure that both teams will definitely rise up. But speaking of Blacklist and RRQ, I don't want to talk about this, right? We spoke about the crazy rookie season. We've been speaking about all the upsets happening in both MPL ID and MPL PH. But I do want to talk about Blacklist and RRQ a little bit more. Like I said, I already touched on this a bit just now when we're talking about Blacklist and RRQ. The fact that they finally lost. They can finally start to look into those mistakes and improve it, right? And they can maybe find that hunger back. But I've seen a lot of RRQ fans. I've seen a lot of Blacklist fans in general in the comment sections saying that, oh, it's a lucky win. Oh, it's blah, 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 blah. Blacklist just made a lot of mistakes. RRQ made a lot of mistakes. If, they could have done better. They could have beaten EVOS. They could have beaten Rebellion. Blacklist could have beaten Onyx PH. It was very close. It was lucky, etc. So there's a lot of what's it called? A lot of spite, yeah, amongst the fan bases. But I'm gonna be honest with you guys. Sure, every team makes mistakes. I agree that RRQ made a lot of mistakes. Blacklist as well made a lot of mistakes up against their competition, EVOS Legends for RRQ and Rebellion, and for Blacklist it was Onyx PH and Echo. They did make a lot of mistakes in the games, and that's why they lost. But one thing that you need to think about is the mistakes that we're seeing here from Blacklist and RRQ. These are some of the mistakes we've actually seen from Blacklist and RRQ in the previous matches before, in the previous tournaments before, even when they won the entire thing, right? RRQ and MPL ID Season 9, they, with their main roster, they were undefeated, but it didn't mean they didn't make any mistakes. They made a few mistakes. They dropped a few games. Same with Blacklist International, but no team were able to actually punish on these mistakes properly, right? So now the argument of just saying that, oh yeah, RRQ lost because they made one mistake and the enemy got lucky, and Blacklist lost because of the same thing, it doesn't apply yet. It doesn't apply anymore in this season, because it feels like, again, all the other teams have improved because these same mistakes that happen now are being punished by the teams that are coming up, So it just shows that every team is progressing. It's not just RRQ and Blacklist declining. Maybe they are declining. Maybe they're just stagnant. For me, I feel like they're just stagnating, right? The other teams are always rising. And this is a common occurrence when we are talking about every sport. Sports in general, like the traditional sports like basketball, football, and even esports. When you're at the top for so long, everyone looks at you. Everyone tries to learn your strategies. Everyone tries to beat you, right? Staying at the top is way harder than rising to the top. You can get to that top position, but staying at the top for a long time is tough. And it finally shows, finally we get to see that Blacklist and RRQ, they are beatable. They can fall 2 times in week number 3. And for me, that's great because RRQ and Blacklist will have so much room to improve. And, I've seen a lot of comments that are the opposite. Some comments are like, oh yeah, they're lucky. But other comments are like, yeah, but Blacklist can learn from this. RRQ can learn from this. And those are the comments that I actually like, right? The non-biased comments. Because it's true. With the losses, it's good for the teams. It really depends where you're at in the standings. But if you are in a comfortable position, like Blacklist and RRQ, you're still 4th place, or you were 1st place before, taking these losses are going to be a good thing, right? So early on to the season, they're taking on the losses so that they can improve and come back in the later stage. We still have 5 more weeks to compete. And that's my thoughts on both Blacklist and RRQ. Their downfall in Season 10. It's not entirely because of their management, their coach, or just the players, but it's also because the other teams are just improving at such a very fast pace. Speaking of, though, comments and chat, I do want to talk a little bit about the toxicity that we see in chat. So I've been getting a lot of DMs lately. Just like, okay, so some people are like, yo, Mirko, can you make a video, or can you like talk about the toxicity in esports in general, in MLBB, in the chat? Like, can you tell them to stop? Guys, I've learned from experience because I've actually tried to tell, well, at least my viewers not to be toxic, right? But I'm going to be honest with you, it just doesn't work. It does not work, right? Like, the best way to counter the toxicity of chat, live chat especially, and comments in general, is just to ignore them, man. Like, honestly, ignore them. There's a lot of crazy stuff being said in our live chats, a lot of racism, it's just a lot of bad things. Just ignore them, man. They're just looking for attention. I think the more you give attention to them, the more they feed on it, and the more toxic they become. And that's something that all of us need to learn, I guess, just ignore them. When people from Indonesia, the toxic people from Indonesia talk smack about PH, just ignore them. And even for the Filipinos, the toxic Filipinos that talk smack to Indonesians, ignore them, right? Just like, do whatever. Just comment on the game. If they don't get any reactions, they're not gonna have fun, right? And especially this, though, it was kind of embarrassing for me. Week 3, day number 3, guys. So for the final day, because of some issues with the roster, the caster roster, Omwawa and KB had to step in to the English desk, right, as replacements. And you can kind of say that they were last-minute replacements, right? They were told to replace the other casters pretty last minute, I believe. So the fact that the Indonesian casters like Omwawa and KB, the casters who don't speak English every single day, who don't use English as their main language, still wanted the show to go on, still continue with their professionalism, moving over from the Indonesian desk with their English that, again, isn't as fluent, right? Because they don't use it every single day. And yet you still get these disgusting comments in the chat saying that, yeah, just being hateful. It was, as a caster, I think a lot of casters do this too, but I have my chat, the live chat of the stream, on my desk while I'm casting, right? Because there are a few moments that I want to check in the chat, like the reactions and stuff. But yeah, I was just pretty embarrassed because the stigma for the English cast or the English broadcast in general has been that the comment section usually is much more respectful, much better than any of the other broadcasts, right? Like, I think the English broadcast in the in the Philippines as well, much more conducive than the Tagalog broadcast in terms of toxicity, and especially here in Indonesia, the English broadcast usually has a pretty normal comment section, right? Like there's not a lot of crazy stuff going on in the chat. But when KB and Omawa stepped in to cast with me, just everyone were hating on them, and I felt embarrassed, man, because again, like these are my colleagues, right? And like I've been casting for English for a long time. I'm casting with them. I'm having a blast. I understand that maybe you guys don't like the accents. Maybe you guys don't like you guys don't like it. Maybe you guys don't like it. I am completely fine with that though. Like I think KB and Omawa also agrees that they're completely fine if people don't like their English cast. That's not the problem here. But it's one thing to not like something and to say like, hey man, I don't think they should be here or something. And it's a whole nother thing hating on them and saying that, oh dude, they should be fired, they're garbage, they are ass, I can't believe they're casters, etc. Right? Because it's different. If you're just hating on them, these people are legends literally in the Indonesian scene. They are risking their comment section, their exposure, right? Like their image as well. Their image in the Indonesian broadcast, they're big brains, they're legends in the esports scene here in Indonesia. They risk that casting in English because of all the hate comments and stuff. They just wanted the show to go on. They wanted to help MPL, yet there's so much hate. So I go back to the first point when we're talking about toxicity. We should ignore it, right? Me, KB, and Omawa. Luckily, again, KB and Omawa, they're very experienced, right? They have been casting for such a long time, so it didn't bother them at all that the comment section was that bad. But why it's a problem for me right now and why I'm talking about it is because later on in the future, there will be new English casters in Indonesia for sure, right? Like right now, Moonton are looking for new English casters for Indonesia for sure. And when we do get those English casters, they might not be, they might not have the best English at first, right? Because I started that way too. Speaking English normally in your everyday life and presenting something in English, casting something in English is very different, right? The way you speak, the words you choose, the tones, everything. Even looking at the camera while you're there, even like just handling the pressure of being watched by millions of people on the internet and thousands of people on stage, right? So it's just for me very scary for new casters, because as a new caster, let's say I'm new right now and I want to join MPL ID as an English caster, and I watched week 3 day number 3 with KB and Umawa. These veterans are getting that much hate. What would I get as a new caster if I join in the English stream, if I can't speak as well as the other English casters? It's just a whole lot of pressure, and it kind of shoos them away because they're going to be too scared to even apply. So that's it for toxicity. I think I rambled on for a bit too long there. I kept on repeating. I'm sorry. Today is a very tiring day. But next point, though, we are going to be talking about just some big names in general in MPL ID, moving over to MDL, getting demoted to the MDL. The noteworthy names obviously are Fairsick, Bajan, Psycho, Violence, and Matt, right? Those are the big names that we've seen from the MDL that has dropped down to, from the MPL that has been demoted to the MDL. And MDL has been looking insane too right now, With the big names coming down, it does show that not only is MPL ID Season 10 getting more competitive, in terms of the teams, but also internally in the organizations themselves, they are very, very competitive. Like if you do not compete at the same level as the other members on your team, you will be demoted to the MDL. And I think, again, this is something that's so good for that team mentality, because they will be forced to keep on improving. You can't be a player who just plays on autopilot every single day. You need to be a player who focuses, who keeps on focusing on improving every single day, on working hard to achieve those championship trophies every single day. And I just really like it. I like the way that it's going right now. Indonesia is feeling much more strict, and I think with this strictness, it will lead to the discipline of the players, the discipline of the entire organization itself, even the coaches here, to be more, be more visible, I guess, right? Because we've seen, I think it's not a big what am I trying? Not a big. I forgot completely what I was gonna say. I think it's no big news that for Indonesia, the last few times that we lost in the international tournaments have been because of discipline, right? Like, it's no big news that that's the case, because everyone has been talking about it. It's been a long time that we've seen that so many times. So with that, it does feel great for MPL ID, especially right now, that we are seeing this crazy competitiveness and this crazy strictness within the organizations itself. Speaking of strict organizations, speaking of crazy moves, I want to give a massive, like, wow shout out to EVOS Legends, though. Like, dude, I was one of the people, I think, early on to the season who actually supported the idea that EVOS Legends were going for, the new era EVOS Legends that they were going for, because they announced before the season started, I think, that they will no longer take players who are just good, who have achieved a lot, who have a lot of experience. They want to take players who are hungry, who are determined. Those are the two main components that they're looking for in their team, right? So they farewelled everyone who was not determined, who are not as hungry as the players that we are seeing right now. And I said it when I did the power rankings. I really like the move that they are doing. That's something that is crucial in the world of any competitive sport or esport. If the players aren't determined, if the players aren't hungry, it doesn't matter how good you were in the past. It doesn't matter how many championships you've won. If you're not hungry, if you're not determined, you will not get the same results. You will not be a champion. So that championship mentality is working like a charm. It's working like a charm right now for EVOS Legends, the new era of EVOS, without any problems with star syndrome, without any problems with just, I don't know, these sort of problems that happens behind the scenes for players who feel like they are bigger than the club, perhaps, right? It's not happening in EVOS. Even, and they've learned from their mistakes too. I've heard that EVOS Legends have, told their players not to check their IGs, not to check their social media while they are competing, so that they don't get demoralized by the hate comments coming in, and they don't get overconfident by all the positive comments coming in. And again, that's something that's so great, because we have seen this so many times in the past. Sometimes it's been good, sometimes it's been bad, right? For a lot of players, it's really bad, because when you get bashed like that in the comments, in the DMs, and whenever you check a video, everyone's just talking smack about you, it's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking as a pro player, right? Man, I cannot fathom, right? Because I've never been in the situation where I got that much hate, but you guys really gotta think about it, man. If you guys are a viewer and you guys have left hate comments, even left hate DMs over to the players, you gotta think about it, man. On the other side of that phone, it's another human being that has put everything into this job, right? Everything to improve, to keep on playing the game 12 hours a day. They work hard. They want to perform on stage under the pressure, watched by millions. Any little mistake, they get criticized. One fatal mistake and they get 1,000 hate comments. Just imagine how they're able to handle that, for me, I don't know if I would be able to handle that. It's very easy to say in front of the camera right now that, oh yeah, man, if I got a lot of hate, I'll be able to handle that. I can just ignore it. But it's another thing if you actually get it and you actually have to experience it, right? Saying something and actually experiencing something is very, very different. And you guys gotta be able to see over the surface level, man. Don't just look at it at surface level. You gotta go deeper. You gotta think about it, right? You can hate. No, you can hate. You can comment. You can criticize them. It's no problem. I'm not saying that everyone has to sugarcoat shit. I'm not a fan of sugarcoating, right? If I don't think the guy's playing good, I say it, even as a caster. Thing is, though, don't hate. Hate and criticism are two different things, right? Criticism is where you actually want to help the team improve, or where you actually want to give them advice, right? Hate is just hate. You just literally leave comments that hurt the other people, the player on the other side, without giving any advice, without giving any thoughtful or useful information. So again, with this new era of EVOS, I love what they're doing, and honestly, I I'm looking forward to what they're going to be bringing here, because this roster really reminds me of the world roster when it was initially built. You know, when they first got that world roster in season 4, it does feel that way. You know, it does feel like EVOS have captured the same spirit. I think in terms of the fans as well, the EVOS fans, it feels good, you know, like to see the chat and the EVOS fans happy, because for once, I actually agree with the fans, like for EVOS fans who are happy now, because it does feel like they have finally achieved something great. Again, this may be too soon for EVOS. They cannot get overconfident. It's just week number 3, but for me personally, I think that this roster has great things to come if they can stay consistent, if they can stay composed, and if they can stay at this level. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, I guess that's it for the SarCAST, a 26-minute SarCAST. Again, another pre-recorded one. Thank you everybody for watching the video. It's been amazing. Week number 3. I'm sorry if I circled around the topics a few too many times in this video. Again, your boy's super sleepy. Recording this very late at night just to get it out right. And I will have a day to relax, so tomorrow, so we're chill. That's it though. Again, thank you guys so much for watching. Tell me what you think about these topics in the comments. Tell me what you think about what I said in the comments, because again, I would love to see your takes on everything that's going on as well in the MPL environment, I guess. Yeah, so peace out, boys and girls. It's been Mirko. I'll see you guys in the next one.